Hello, everybody. Welcome back once again to another online art class. So we're back. This is our fourth week, literally 28 days later. We're still here. So we have another assignment for you to work on. We're quickly going to review the prior assignments. And our goal is to give you an assignment, a new assignment every time. So I'm going to can you hand me the assignments right there, please? So I'm gonna show you just really quick the prior assignments. All of them, please, yes. So the idea is to guide you through a process, and when we're done with class, you continue working. Yeah, that one too. You continue working at home. So once the class is over online, it's basically guided, right? So you continue at home. So here's our first one. You can see that right there. So this is a grid technique. We talked about this. It's backwards. Yes. All right. So you see that right there. I put it on a nice frame. And this was our first assignment. So you can continue working on this one or use this technique for other works. You see that right there? Nice. All right. So I'm going to go over the next one. Just kind of showed you. The next one we did was a well, I don't have the small one. It was a grid technique of a smaller character, much more simple. But this one right here is a landscape. And I still have some things to work on this. Like I want to fix the clouds. I'm not too happy with them, but you know what? Overall, it's pretty good. It's straight from imagination, like memory. You know, there's no reference to look at. So this was really fun to do. A lot of you guys send me your images. So keep on working on this one if you still need to finish it. I may work on it, but I don't want to drag this on too long. I want to give you a variety of ideas and assignments. So I just wanted to review what we've done. So this one right here is pretty much done, but I may touch it up a little bit more. So this was our second assignment. And for our third assignment, this is what we have. You see that right there? So this was like an idea I had from like when I was a child. We used to, my friends and I, we like drawing. So you draw a line, and the challenge is that the other person makes something out of it, and you keep going back and forth. And but you know, at the end, like you start selecting things that you like. So it's just kind of like a way to get you started. This one I really like. I stay with the warm colors. This is our very latest assignment. I stay with the very warm colors like red, orange. I have a little bit of blue, green right here. But overall, the warm colors are taking over. And this little character kind of came about just randomly. My daughter did the random lines for me, and I kind of made it into something. It's kind of like two-dimensional. But I did a lot of markers because I wanted to show you, you know, over the live stream, the markings, and that kind of took a form on its own. Anyway, so I have a lot of markers, so it's kind of like more graph design kind of thing, you know, but it's painting as well. So I'm kind of really happy with this. I may touch it up a little more. The character here, she drew the same lines but smaller, so then another little character came about here, and I just started to add color. It reminds me of the little salamander in that movie Frozen. I think it's called Bruni, right? Except over there it's blue and it makes fire. But you know, at least you can see the faces here. Another thing that my daughter pointed out later on was that that when you flip it around, because when I'm painting, you're looking at it backwards, and I know I don't have a lot of equipment or different cameras to give you different angles, but when she was looking at it, this is what she saw. And she was telling me that from this angle, it also looks like a little character, you know, with the eyeballs. Now that I kind of like detail the eyes, you know, now it looks a little bit different, but you can see kind of like a mouth, kind of like a weird monster face character with the mouth right here. You know, so this is pretty much abstract for the most part. And then you just start taking ideas that you like and start working and develop it. I'm pretty much done with this. I don't know if I want to touch it up a little more, but this is our latest assignment. So I just wanted to review, and this is the right side, you know, so that, if you're watching us, we're going to start 2 new assignments today. We're going to start with one of them. And like usual, the second hour, I'll try to start you off with a different assignment. So I have a couple of ideas and I'm going to go over them. But so, you know, without further ado, let's go to our next idea. And while we're talking about that, I'm going to see if I could look at the video live. Maybe you guys have a question or things like that. If not, you can revisit the video like always and post your comments right there. So this one is our latest one. And for this class, we're going to wrap that up. So the other assignment, I have 2. I'll start with the one I want to do last. It's like a painting, and, you know, more kind of like simple per se for like children, you know. Maybe you look at a character's face and paint it pretty big on the middle of the canvas. So this is something that my daughter did, right? And I want to show you as an example. I also have another painting that she did right here. And she's still working on this. So this is a smaller version, or like this is a face. What is this? What do we call this little character? It's hard to see on the camera there. What do we call this? Roblox. All right, so there's a Roblox character. And it's kind of like throwing up this little rainbow, right? And it's very interesting. She loves rainbows. And so this is her creation. And she may continue to work on this maybe later. And I may show you progress if she decides to work on it while we're doing this class. But she's doing an awesome job with the camera work. And while I'm thanking her for helping me, I also want to send a shout out and thank you to everyone that's watching, everyone that's supporting the program, but specifically Yayo. Yayo helped me out this last week with food. He gave me some groceries, so I appreciate that. Yayo, shout out, looking out. And also Lisa Hernandez, she gave a donation for the class. I appreciate that, Lisa. If you're watching, thank you so much. And I left a link there if you guys enjoy the class and want to leave a small donation. And if not, it's okay. We do this without intentions of anything. It's free. The video stays on, so you can keep on working at your own pace, at your own time. So right now we're live, and we're going to get started. So the last assignment, or actually the idea that we're going to work on, this one. So I have a mask. These are actual masks that we've worked on this class. And these are masks that I'm thinking of ideas like that I may use to spur into an idea, right? So these are 2 different kind of masks. Here's another one. These were all done by students here, right? So I'm going to use this mask as an inspiration to make one of our next paintings, right? So there's actually this one right here I really, really love. It's in progress, but it's kind of like a sun. And the lady that's working on this, I hope she comes back when we're able to open our doors and she can paint it. But look at all this. It's like all this sun rays and beautiful, beautiful. So this one I may develop into a painting just from that. The next project I want to start, and that one's kind of simple, but I'm going to guide you through it. And it's something that anyone can do. And it's much more simple in the sense that for any age. So we have a blank canvas and that idea. And while I talk, I'm gonna put on the live stream so I can read some of your comments. All right. So here's the idea, right? It's kind of simple. So I wanted to work on letters today. Letters, kind of like a message. Like all the things that are going on right now. We're bombarded with things, and our brains are also running crazy. But I figure we can use this class to put a positive message. So in this case, we're gonna choose one word, It could be anywhere that is positive to you, that you want to use to inspire yourself, to inspire others. Your name, if you want to just do your name. So the idea is to use a canvas like this and cover the entire canvas with paint in a way that that it looks really interesting. And I'm gonna guide you through that. The paintings will look. Oh, I see. The video is kind of sideways, huh? Yeah, that didn't happen last time. Well, I think we're gonna carry on. Maybe I'll try to fix it, but yeah, I can see over here it's sideways, and I don't know why it's doing that. We're learning, so it's a learning experience here. So we may have to, start another video and try to get this right, just because I can see it being like challenging. It's already awkward that I'm using this angle from here and you're looking at what I'm doing backwards. So I'm gonna probably cut it off, start again. I won't go over the other things, but I'll leave this video on. All right, working on the, okay, so yeah, so I'll try to fix that. I'll try to fix that, that angle. So I may come back, I'm gonna cut it off, because it's important that you have a great view, or at least the best view possible, right? So because of that, I'm gonna cut off the video. If you're watching, don't be discouraged. I'm coming back in a couple of minutes, figure this thing out. The phone is doing out of my phone, live streaming. But so if you're watching, tune in a couple of minutes, and the video should be right. Right now it's sideways, and that's not going to work for this assignment. It's going to be a distraction. So can you cut off the video? We'll see you guys in a minute. Hello everybody, welcome back again. I hope you can see us the right angle. We had to cut off the other transmission because my camera was sideways and it was very distracting to record that way. Very simple fix. The outer rotate button was depressed. So now you can see me the right way. You may just be watching for the first time, and I'm gonna do the other thing real fast. Just kind of go over the first assignments real quick. There may be, these videos are also for folks who, someone might have missed the other videos. So my name is Efren Luna, by the way, with the Cultural Alliance of Long Beach. This is our first assignment that's in progress. I left the markings of the grid on there so you can see that technique, right? It's kind of like for you to see, but keep on working on this. I did a simplified version of this with a cartoon, like a bird illustration type of thing for like small children. So this was our first week. Our second week, we worked on a landscape that it was made from memory. So this was a challenge because we were not looking at a picture, and we were just working from memory. And this one was very enjoyable. A lot of people submitted their pictures. I'm still working on the sky, but I'll do that at another time. So this is our second week's assignment. And our third week's assignment was this this was like an unplanned assignment that we did. And there's a couple of characters that came out of that. Look at our video number 3, and you can see the last hour, the process for this one. I may add a little more to this, but I'm pretty satisfied with the result. And I'm just gonna get to the next idea. As I mentioned before on the other transmission, before it got cut off, that we'll get started. The first one is gonna be a word, but we're gonna make it into an art design with a design element to it. Colors, a lot of colors, a lot of shapes, and that's going to be very fun. The word that we're going to work on, you're going to choose your own word. The idea is that this word is going to inspire positive energy for you at the moment, or for whoever you want to make this painting for. You may also just choose to make your own name. So the word that you're going to choose is going to be different than mine. All right. For me, I'm going to choose a word and I'm going to write it on here. And that's going to be my starting point. All right. So I've been debating about like what word to use, and this shouldn't be that difficult. But it's hard to put everything positive that we wish right now in one word. But we'll just focus on a word that's positive, that makes you think of kindness, of being kind to each other. Just kind of throw that message out there. You can choose to do your name, your parents' name, your sister's name. If you're a child doing this, you can just write your name. Now, when you write your name, if we can zoom down here, please. This is our canvas, right? If you're working on paper, that's fine. If you're working on poster, that's fine. Ideally, you want a blank canvas or a blank paper. You want to make the letters big. Like my name is Efren. I don't want to write like that, you know, because we're gonna transform this into a painting. So what I'm going to do, I'm gonna choose the word love, just because you know, love is probably the most powerful word to do the best, the most good in our society. Love for everybody, right? Which a lot of times we forget that you know, to act upon that energy of love. So that's gonna be my starting point, the word love. Your style of writing, it could be handwriting, it can be you know, regular writing, it could be but don't focus, first of all, don't focus too much, like don't take too much printing the word or writing the name. Okay, I'm gonna choose like handwriting, like a version of handwriting slash regular writing. And I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna choose the word love. So I'm gonna do the L. I thought about doing Luna for like my last name. But if you have a last name, you can also write it down here. So this is my L. You can see that on there. So that's my L. You can do a regular L. Just make it your own, okay? It's the idea. Every time we do an assignment, you can make it your own, okay? We're just guiding you through a process. The O, I'm gonna put the O right there, and the V. Let's see. Here's the V, and the E. Let me see. Maybe a lowercase e. All right. So here's the word love. As you can see. Can you see that on there? I know last time I used a marker because the pencil is hard to see. So I'll put this closer to the camera. All right. You can see that? All right. So I was trying to explain to my daughter this assignment. And so there's my, it's kind of like we're making a sculpture per se. And this is like our frame, right? So this lines. So now we can zoom back down here. I'm gonna choose like we can see. Okay, so I'm gonna choose, and I'm not measuring precisely. I'm just gonna guess. I'm going to put a border of about a ½ inch on each side. So in essence, I'm gonna make this word or this lettering. I'm gonna extend and make it a little bit bigger. Now, if you're an artist or graphic designer, this is probably something simple. But again, this is geared towards everyday folks that may want to do something fun. All right, so you're just going to trace, take your time, if you want to leave us a comment there while I'm doing this, go ahead and do so. So let me show you. So you see it's kind of getting thicker, right? You can see it's getting thicker. So there's a process. So the idea is to make this a little bit thicker and cover the canvas. And then once we have made a great drawing or our best drawing, we'll start painting it. And we'll see how that goes, right? But right now, let me just keep working on this, right? So I made about a ½ inch around it, the inside part of the letters. I'm also going to do the same. And if you're not perfect, it's okay. Look right here, I did about a quarter, and I'm just doing it freehand, so it's not perfect, and that's okay, because the idea is to be creative, I mean, you can be precise if you want, but I want you to be expressive. And it's very interesting because our prior assignments, we've started with something a little bit more realistic, and we're kind of loosening up a little bit, right? But here we go. All right. And you can erase lines if you feel that the design needs adjustment. We're just building our design. Now you might wondering, like, about letters and things like that. It's kind of how I got started into the arts. It's actually exactly how I got started. Growing up in the inner city, the urban, Long Beach, California, you see a lot of graffiti writing, right? But I wasn't attracted to just the words themselves. I was attracted to designs, and I got into that when I was a teenager, and that made me get into art. So you can see the words, and I'm gonna fix it up a little bit. So we're in progress. You see that right there? Maybe I should use marker. No, you can see it. It's okay. All right. So you can see there. I'm gonna fix a few things, just because, like, this E looks awkward. Like, I want to fix the line. It looks a little bit weird to me. But if you like your letters, and you fix them, and as long as you're happy, you're your own judge. You're not doing this for anybody, for anybody else. All right. So finally, I see the live feed here on Facebook, and now the camera is properly the right way. Very good. So this is where it gets interesting, right? Like, see this O? I don't like it in the center. I'm gonna change it up. I'm gonna put it like, kind of like on the side, just to give it a variety. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to, this kind of looks like a billiards pool table ball, like the cue ball with the little circle. But you know what? It's your own design. So now, you're probably wondering, why am I erasing? Well, now you erase now you erase your word, and you leave the outline or the border that you drew. But I missed the spot here. I don't know if you can see it. You missed the spot here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So this technique, I learned it like in high school, because I used to watch like other kids like do nice writings, like urban graffiti type of thing. And I was like, man, how do they get all those like big fat lines perfect? So there's a technique, right? So I'm telling you, there's a technique for all kinds of things, right? So, and that's what we're here to show you, right? Like if you do a graphic design, like on Photoshop or things like that, there's features on there about things like this, but we're doing this from scratch here with the pencil, paper, canvas, right? So my word again is love. And I think we need a lot of that towards each other, towards ourselves, towards our community. If we got to start to portray that from within, right? It's hard to, I know it sounds cliche, but it's hard to show to show that outwardly if we are not feeling it inwardly. So choose something that's gonna make you happy. I mean, that's my advice. I chose art, and honestly, I'm very happy. My life is transformed. I wouldn't change it for anything. Some folks, you know, if you're like, it's tough to make a living as an artist, but you know what? The way I see it is like, it keeps me alive, right? You gotta have a balance in life. So I chose art as a profession. So here's my word. I made just doing small adjustments, just kind of like erasing, adjusting the lines, just to give it a little more of a symmetrical. Like what I'm trying to do is keep us a sense of symmetry. Symmetry means like evenly on both sides. So like trying to keep the letters thickness evenly on both sides as much as possible. And if I am not doing that, I want it to make it seem like that's part of the plan, right? Right. So I'm gonna show you what this kind of looks like. You see that over there? Can you see that in the camera? Got any viewers there yet? Maybe, yeah. All right, if you're watching, shout out to you guys for watching us. I'm going to just keep adding drawings. Love, right? So love is our word. You choose the word you want. You can choose your name. You can choose your mom's name, your brother's name, your dad's name. You just choose a word, you know. But the idea is, you know, to make the world better, right? Choose a word for that. Now I'm going to fill this space with shapes. Now I may be working a little bit too fast, but you're probably wondering, no, wait, you're, you know, I'm slowing down, but I should probably be working slower if you ask me. But I'm just adding shapes. So filling in the space with shapes. You see that? And those shapes are not like planned. They're just kind of going around in a, I don't have a plan for these shapes. Just kind of filling it, you know, like kind of, these are kind of like cool triangles that are coming out. They're not perfect. They're kind of like slanted, sharp triangles. Let's see. Remember I talked about symmetry? Now this is my drawing. If you don't want symmetry, you can do random shapes, you know. And these are sort of random shapes. They are just, I'm just kind of placing them kind of like a puzzle, you know, a puzzle. All right, so I've created this series of sharp angles. I don't know if I'm going to keep the angles, but I'm just going to try to fill the canvas for now. All right, I'm going to try to fill the canvas for now and go with that. So the reason why I chose the angles is because there's a lot of angles where these letters connect, and I kind of went off of that. So the painting or the drawing itself is kind of guiding itself in the sense that that these shapes are a product of the available space. Kind of like a city being built, right? Like, oh, here's more real estate. Let's build that, you know. You know, but this is, we're just covering the canvas, you know. We're making our own creation right here, you know. All right, I think I'm done with the sharp, pointed parts. I'm not filling that. So, well, right here, I'm just gonna do this last one. Then I'm gonna add circles. So you can see I'm adding. How's that looking over there on the camera? Pretty good. Yeah. There's comments. Right on. Thank you for the comments. I'm gonna. I'm watching on my daughter's Chromebook, and there's a delay. So if I don't read your comments like live, there's a delay. So, but right now I'm making the screen big so I can see the comments. There you go. So it says love. The O looks kind of small, right? Like I can see that. The O looks kind of small. Okay. There we go. Now I see it big. And it says click here to see comments. Of course I want to see your comments. Elizabeth, saludos for watching us. So, la palabra del día es amor. Pero usted puede escoger su propia palabra para dibujar. So this is the word that I chose, love. I was kind of like thinking, should I do love? Oh, it's too, in Spanish we say cursi. I mean, I don't know how to say cursi in English. Maybe I'll think of something. If you know, put it on there. But I was like, oh, it's too like St. Valentine's, you know, like romantic, and I'm a dude, you know. So there was a little block in my mind. But you know what? You know, let it go. You know, it's like, you know, the whole idea is to express yourselves and not be afraid, you know, because not be afraid of our own feelings or of our own emotions or of our own, you know, preconceived ideas, or, you know, like, so I'm filling the space, and I'm actually liking this. I don't like this 3 circles right here. Kind of look a little bit awkward to me. So I'm gonna connect them into one shape. I'm playing with the shapes, okay, guys? So I don't have a plan. No hay ningún plan. Simplemente colorear esta canvas. We're coloring this canvas. Now, if you look at this as a coloring book, now you have your you know, your canvas, right? If you go to, like, you know, buy a coloring book, here you go. You can just color this, you know, and give it like shades and all kinds of things. But I'm gonna keep working on the drawing just for a little more. You know, we still got a few more minutes. I may get to the painting part. But you know what? I'm actually enjoying this project, so we'll see. We'll see how this is going. I wanted to get to the other project, but this is been really fun for me, actually. Man, so there's more space. Now here's something that I'm gonna do. All right, so we have all these compartments of shapes, so I'm gonna connect them. I'm gonna connect them, like put a little bridge and connect them like they are friends, you know, like a community, right? You know, instead of separate shapes, like just, you know, like this is my area, this is my you know, this is, you know, like, well, I'm gonna connect them. I'm not gonna connect them to the letters just yet, because I'm not feeling that just yet. So I'm kind of going by what I'm feeling, but I'm gonna connect the shapes to themselves, just like a tape under. It looks like there's some kind of like under shape. There's like some under shape connecting them. I'm gonna actually go over it with marker once I decided on my drawing pretty good. And everything can change, as you can see from our prior exercise or last week's assignment. This was, you know, the idea kept changing. And even when I showed my daughter, she was like, what? Because it didn't look exactly the same. It changed. I've been working on it for a while. You know what? This part of the V for love, I'm gonna connect it just because I'm feeling that. You know, like right here, boom, boom. There's no, and I'm actually gonna put a connection to the letters. Now I'm actually integrating the letters to the background shapes, and I may erase some of the lines to give it a cool effect. All right, so it kind of look like arrows. So I'm creating my own style here, kind of inventing as I go, just based on feeling, you know. There we go. All right, so it's looking pretty cool to me. I think I have a lot to color if I wanted to start coloring. All right. All right, so let's see. I'm gonna show. Here we go. I'm looking at the live stream, and I've changed the method. Like I used to live stream from the events link itself, and a lot of the people who were interested in the class would see it. So I'm making sure they see it. So I'm sharing the link as we speak. There we go. All right. So you can see our drawing here. It's not that bad, huh? Not that bad. Let me show the comments here. There we go. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to work on the drawing a little bit more. Man, I'm really digging this this composition. We call a composition in art when you use up the entire area. We have this edge, we have vertical edges and horizontal edges, right? Everything inside of the canvas is part of your composition. We don't leave anything out of our plan or of our design. We include everything, you know. Why? Because that makes a strong image. It makes you think of like you know, that you had a plan, you know, like even though I didn't have a specific plan. So a composition is everything in the viewing area. You know, if I was to continue outside, this is not part of my composition because I can draw on the table, but you're not going to see it. So you stay here, right? Just like when you take photos, you make a great composition. And I don't know, maybe I'll share a little story about photography. And speaking of composition, I took some images, some pictures of the Long Beach sunset a few days back. And, you know, it looks really clean. And, you know, it looks like, I mean, I'm sure there's less pollution, but I'll share a secret with you in regards to taking sunset photos. There's a specific point when the sunset is going down that it creates warmer colors. So you want to be ready and just snap a lot of photos during that time. Also, here's another secret. So another secret for getting good photos or sunset photos is if it's going to rain, the clouds are usually full of more moisture, more water, and they are usually thicker, and they'll have a stronger color. So before the rain, and if the sun is peeking out and the clouds are getting ready to rain that night, or like, you know, overnight, and you get that sunset right before, and then what you do is like you enhance your colors, filters on the camera, and man, you get the best, well, some of the best images. So that's the secret. But the composition, right? You have to put everything inside of those lines to look great. You know, so that's the idea. Okay, so I think I want to simplify it. I can keep on going with you know what? I'm gonna break up the word love. It's pretty readable, right? You can actually read it pretty good, right? I have another comment here. All right. One day I'll make it. What is it? One day let me zoom in or zoom out. There we go. One day I'll make it at the start. Well, this is Srimanti. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, but don't worry. These videos, they're live, but they stay on, so you can revisit them. You know, I'm gonna just say this. You know, a lot of times, like some of the painting classes that I see, and that's okay. You know, everybody has their own style. Like you just copy what the painter is doing. You know, and this is a little bit of that, but a lot of it is like your own creation. You know, like I actually encourage that to be your own creation. So I chose the word love. You want to choose like maybe your name, maybe your last name. you know, I chose the word love because I wanted to show something positive to the community, to the people watching. And I think love is probably one of our major strengths as humanity. And we just need to keep working on that. You know, it's not easy sometimes to carry that, to show that, you know, but because we got to start from the inside. And that's the reason why I'm doing this, you know. I'm doing my share here. I'm trying, you know, you may want to choose another word like community or anything that you need inspiration, you know, put that word out there, you know, put it out there. It's like you attract what you put out there, right? They say. So, so I'm breaking up the words. You know, I'm putting like half circles inside of the word. I don't know what that effect's going to have. It's just giving it, you know, when people that do letters like, like urban graffiti style, they have a style, right? They don't switch up styles within the same word or lettering, I guess, you know. So it's kind of uniform, even though it's crazy. But you know what? I'm not doing that, you know. Like I may throw in an organic line, right? Let's see how that goes. An organic line will probably throw off this design, but let's try that out. Let's see. Man, it's tough because, see, it's like I'm stopping myself because I don't know where to start for an organic line. Now I guess I opened my mouth. Well, okay. Here you go. It's more organic than it's kind of more like a crack, right? Like kind of like a crack on the wall, right? Like a little scar, right? I kind of like it. We'll see how that goes. Oh, let's add another one. Maybe on the L. Yeah, let's do that diagonally. Kind of like, that's totally off the, this doesn't go with the design, but we wanted to make it different, right? That doesn't go with the design. And this is hard for me to do because I'm used to, I'm used to kind of following the design when I do things like this. I've been, doing drawings like this for a long time, so it's hard to break from the mold, I guess, but I want to push myself. Okay, so maybe a few zigzags. There you go. Let me break up the shapes. So on the letters, I'm just gonna break them up into shapes, kind of like creating a puzzle. And see what happens. All right. I mean, the drawing can go on and on and on. So I think at some point I gotta start drawing this. I'm going to use a marker and just start highlighting, or just try to go over just so you can see better. Okay, the dangers of that is that it's permanent and there's no turning back. I mean, there is if you paint it, put paint over it. All right. So here's our word, and there's our design. It's kind of weird how this O came out pretty small, actually. Pretty small considering I started with the giant L, like this cursive style of L. So I'm telling you, like your fonts, they are your own, right? I started with this giant L, small O, and the rest of the letters are different. They're different font, right? This V, it's almost like a checkpoint, like a check mark, All right. Shout out to Yayo, gave me this canvas and another one that I may work on today if time allows. For donating the canvases. He also gave me food. Shout out to Yayo, gave me a few items. Appreciate that. Shout out to Lisa Hernandez. from the Creative Depot reusable. She had that store for 12 years. Now it's gonna go online. So shout out to Lisa Hernandez for her donation and for her support. So we appreciate you. There's the link on there if you'd like to support. If you can, you know, I know it's tough. Not to worry. But this is made free for the community. So you can see that I highlighted the word love, or not highlighted, but I went over, right? Yes. So you gotta keep going, right? Like, just gotta keep going. I didn't erase the original O or the line. I don't know why, but I like it. Like, I erased all the internal skeleton of the letters, but I left this circle O right in here. But I like it. It's different. It changed the whole style. It changed everything, right? But I like it. Like I said, I'm gonna leave it. What that did is made a thin line, which was not part of the plan. And we want that too, you know. We want hints of like deviating from the plan. You want to start with the general plan, but you want those mishaps to enhance your drawing, you know. It's very geometric style making in a sense, you know. It's kind of like cursive writing, but with like this feeling of geometry, like triangles. It's very interesting because earlier I was doing math problems on Facebook. People are sharing those algebra problems where they do like little pictures, and then the picture has some of the items, and you got to calculate, you got to use order of operation. PEMDAS, right? If you don't use PEMDAS, like, you're gonna mess up. And then you gotta have good eyesight. Those are fun. Did a few of those. First one I was trying to work fast and I messed it up. Anyway, so I guess math's been on my mind lately. So this drawing's very mathematical, but it wasn't planned that way. It just came out that way. So if I was to start all over with another word, I mean, even with the same word, it may look different, you know, because that's the idea, that your drawing looks different than my drawing. If your drawing looks like mine, or you know, like you're not doing it the right way, but and it probably won't look like mine because you're adding your own flavor, right? You're following along, and that's the idea. I'm just guiding you. Your style may be a little more fluid, more random, more organic, like kind of like a plant moving like a branch. You know, that's okay too. You know, make it your own. It just happened that today this is what I came up with, and you know, so I'm trying to highlight as much as the shapes. Because once I start painting, these pencil marks may go away, and I want to keep them, you know. Like if I want them to go away, I want them to go away because I didn't like them, you know. So that's, yeah, here we go. So that's gonna be the big difference. So there's a lot of curved lines, a lot of sharp angles, you know. It's kind of geometric. It's like but that's all right, right? This is what, you know, I'm talking because I'm trying to make the video interesting, you know, in a way. But if you're working at home, you're probably just focused. You do this for an hour and like your mind clears out real good. I mean, you may play music on the background, something, you know, some pot, like right now I'm thinking of love, right? But I'm talking too much, so I'm thinking geometrically. But if I had like some love songs, you know, like oldies, you know, maybe this whole thing might look different, you know. That's one of the beautiful things about art, is like magic. Your environment influences your output in this universe. Right? So a lot of times we have to remove ourselves from certain environments you know. So other times we have to seek our environment, you know, to come, you know. So this lesson here is more of a loosely guided art class, especially for this assignment. This is different than the grid. The grid technique was very precise, you know. There wasn't that much freedom. Outside the composition, there wasn't that much freedom. Once you were free to choose a composition, but outside of that, that's it. I can keep on breaking these shapes a little more, and but I don't know if I want to do that. You can keep on breaking these shapes a little more, and let's see. I'm just kind of adding lines. It's starting to look like little eyeballs, which is kind of odd, but you know, I like that. So let's do that. All right. Let's see. All right. I'm not planning anything out, but check this out. Can you see that right there? Yeah. Pretty good, huh? I mean, like with the Sharpie, you can tell the big difference. So now here's a challenge. We have to color this, right? Maybe I'll do an undercoating and just let it dry. Maybe I'll do that and see what happens. I'm gonna do blue. Last time I worked with red, yellow, orange. Those are warm colors. And if you've been following this online classes, I use a lot of terminology that is art oriented. And why am I doing that? Because you know what? Maybe you want to pick up art, and I want to give you a little bit of heads up on the language and things like that, you know. So while we're doing this, talking about it, so we already spent an hour here between the first transmission and this. I'm gonna continue with this because this is what I'm feeling. You know, I hate to do this halfway and then do the other one halfway within this 2 hours, right? I might as well get pretty advanced here and give you something interesting to look at. So I said I'm gonna do cool colors. So on the color wheel, maybe I'll show you a sample of a color wheel. But if you're at home, you know, when you get a chance, just Google a color wheel, and it'll show you like kind of like a rainbow, but it'll sort out the colors. The blues, greens are on one side, the yellow, reds are on another side, and the red is kind of like for fire, makes you think of fire. So we call that the warm colors. The cool colors are the blue, green, right? And to this, I'm gonna focus on a blue or a cool palette. What do I mean by cool? Greens, blue, right? Those tones, you know, within that palette range. I may add a little bit of warm colors, but I'm not gonna emphasize those. So I'm gonna grab some paint. Grab a little bit of cool paint. So I have this blue, light blue, dark blue. All right, green. Green is also a cool color, right? If I do add yellow, I want this colors. If I add a warm color, I'm gonna mix it with this colors, but these colors are going to dominate. All right, so give me a second here. All right, I found an orange one, but you can see that it doesn't go here. So I may add a little bit of highlights with this orange, but all right, enough explaining. So let's just put paint on there. I am going to, we have acrylic paint. Acrylic paint is probably your best choice. If you have tempera, it's okay, but tempera, it's gonna be chalky and is washable for the most part. it's not as bright per se. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just slightly different. And the reason why I mentioned that is last time I used a tempera color without knowing, and I was kind of like a little bit annoyed that it had this chalky feel to it, you know, like opaque. Yeah, there you go. That's the word I was looking for. Opaque. Like the colors weren't vibrant, and I was like, wait a minute. So I finally realized that our box of paint here our paint is donated. So we accept whatever paint you want to donate to us, right? So I didn't sort it out. It was all mixed up because our mask, we really, you know, we use all kinds of paint, and I didn't know. So right now I'm adding a lot of water. So I'm gonna do a layer, right? A layer of this blue. Remember I said I wanted to do blue. So I have a bowl of water here with me. So the idea, I should probably use a bigger brush. So let's see. Now I can work with this brush. Okay, so yeah, let me use a bigger brush. I'm gonna use this big brush just for the background. Let's see how that works. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna absorb a lot of water and a lot of paint. All right, well, that kind of covered everything pretty fast. Okay, so maybe I don't want to lose the drying, right? So I'm glad I used a Sharpie. If this was pencil, I probably would have lost the drying, like in some areas. You can see that pretty good on the camera over there. So blue is gonna be like, it's kind of like this. What kind of blue is this? Like a sky blue? This is the blue I was trying to make last time, but it didn't come out. You know, sometimes the paintings, they take a life of their own. I mean, to get something really precise, you have to work really hard. And even then, the painting kind of does its own thing. Sometimes you just follow what feels right, you know? I like that process. Okay, I like this undercolor, but I'm gonna need it to dry a little bit. Okay, maybe I want the horizontal marks on, but I need it to dry so I can proceed. I didn't think about that. That's all right. I'll let it dry for a little bit, and maybe I'll work on the other. Yeah. The good thing about acrylic, it doesn't take too long to dry. I'll show you another. This makes me think of watercolor, and I want to start doing watercolors. I don't have watercolors available, but I do want to do a lesson on watercolors. Maybe that's the next goal. I'm going to, while it's wet, I'm gonna add I want to add a little bit of green. Maybe just kind of like, maybe I'll add like a drop here and there. Maybe. Oh, yeah, I should have mixed the paint. It's very expressive, you know. There you go. That's all I need. Now I'm gonna use the same big brush, and that's gonna carry the color around. This is kind of like what in watercolor we call this wet into wet. So you wet the canvas, then you put another color. That's a pretty cool effect. But you see, let me put this out of the way. There you go. So now I have this green. Makes me think of like grass, right? Like, I love landscapes, so maybe that's what's subliminally, that's probably what's. All right, this is still too wet, so I'm gonna clean up my brush. Take the water out of the. Remember the Bob Ross videos, and he just smacks the brush onto the easel. He just whacks it a few times to dry it, and he just kind of laughs doing that. That's pretty fun. R.I.P. Bob Ross, one of the greatest light painters, you would say, you know, for television painting. So I'm trying to make it blend with the blue, and I'm liking this effect. I don't know if you can see over there, but it's kind of blending pretty good. Yeah. If I add a little bit of red over there, it'll kind of look like a landscape. You know what, why not? I don't have red. I didn't want to make it a warm color. So I'll add a little bit of orange. Remember I said a little bit of orange? I'll put just a tiny highlight. My daughter's over there shaking her head like, you know, because sometimes I'll say what I'm going to do and I'll end up doing something different. Oops. All right. That was way too much. But you know what? It's all right. Here's another brush. I'm going to use a smaller brush for that. I'm going to use a smaller brush for that. I'm just going to, oof. Yeah, this is very strong. The warm color are stronger. And I don't want that to take over. I just wanted a little bit. I didn't want it to take over. So I'm kind of, in fact, you know what you can do is you can grab an old piece of cloth, like this old rag, and just wipe it off, you know. But then it exposes the white underneath, right? So that's a little bit of a problem. The thing is, if it's still wet, it'll do that. But just blend as much as you can, make it look even. Comment on there. Watching Elisa Ledesma. Shout out to Elisa Ledesma watching us. Etching, I missed, I'm eating. I'm etching, I missed the beginning. The beginning though. Okay, don't worry. If you missed the beginning, these videos, they stay on and you can revisit them. But right now, like, what you do is you choose a letter, a word, and you'll see, you know, but then you create a design around it. There's like a shortcut to make the letters like shapes. You just basically put not layers, but outline of the letters, like, and then you erase. And anyways, you'll probably see it later. But so here's I'm very happy with this background. Wow, I can't wait to start coloring it. But you know what? I'm not gonna be able to. It's still wet, and it's not gonna, like, the colors. What happens? I'll do a small example. You gotta let this dry, because what happens? I'll use green because I'll do it just to show you. And who knows? I might like that effect. But what happens if you use if you paint, like, let's say I was gonna trace the L, and I'm like, all right, I'm ready to color. It's still wet, so the paint is going to bleed. We call that bleed. Sometimes that's the effect you want. Let's see what happens. I don't want that, but I'm doing that to show you what happens. And who knows, I may end up liking that. So here you go. I don't know if you can see on there, but it's starting to bleed. Like, what does it bleed? Like, literally, like, it starts to spread around because the water starts to carry the paint away from where you applied it. You know, and it kind of takes away from the the clean edges, so it makes the edges like fuzzy. But you know what? It's not too bad. Kind of liking this, so okay, I'll do one more and then I'll let it dry. I'll let it dry. This is acrylic paint, so it'll dry pretty fast. I'll put it on the fan. I'll work on the other painting while this dries up a little bit. Okay, you see what happened? I don't know if you can see on the camera there. Can you zoom in? I'll actually hold it up. But now I'm gonna hold it up so it's gonna bleed down with gravity. But can you focus on this part right here? Yeah. Can you zoom in a little bit? I just want to show you guys, and you guys, some of you guys are, you know, like if you painted before, you already know this, but remember, this is for all of us. This video is for like people of all levels. So there might be somebody who's new to painting at all, and they may not necessarily be, you know, be familiar with this effect, right? So it's starting to bleed, and I really, the more I look at it, you know, I don't like it, you know. But I wanted to show you, and I thought like maybe I'll like that effect, you know. But I'll blend it a little bit, and then I'll put on the. Well, I'm gonna go put it in another room, put on the fan. In another room so the sound doesn't disturb our video or interfere. But I am going to, you know, this is very interesting. Every time I have a loosely planned for our projects. And the projects, they kind of take over, you know, which is kind of nice, you know. So that's what happened. He bleeds, and that's not necessarily what I wanted, but I can work with that. I just wanted to show you that. So you're going to let it dry if you're working. Maybe you want to see when I picked it up, it started to bleed down. The brush strokes, they're starting to bleed down. So it's like right here, I can see on the monitor over there, the paint is kind of like running down because I picked up the canvas and it was still wet, and that's all right. That effect is kind of good actually. So I'm gonna grab another canvas. Again, shout out to Yayo, donated this canvas. Diego Aguirre, also known as Yayo, has a school of art in Mexico. He's a school teacher in Santa Ana School District. He's a soccer coach for the girls there. He's won championships, very hardworking friend of mine. And he helped me out with paint, or actually canvases. He gave me a few, gave me a care box with food. I appreciate that. So now I have this blank canvas. So while my other canvas is drying, I'm gonna work on remember, if you were watching from the beginning, I like this mask. Very beautiful. This is the shape of a real person. The lady that worked on this, she came to our class with her aunt, and I hope they come back. If you're watching this, we love your mask. I'm going to use it as inspiration. Here is another one you can see. So I'm going to use a mask as an inspiration. I like this sun ray, like sunbeams coming out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna like put it right here. Maybe I can somewhere I can look at it. Well, I also want you to look at it. I'll just hold it. I hold it in my hand, and just so I can keep the inspiration. So what you do when you draw a face, like, I mean, this is not like precisely like a person's face that I'm gonna draw on the canvas, but this is actually the shape of a person's face. I'm not gonna get into the details of how to make the mask, but I am going to start drawing. So what you do is you draw like a oval shape. And for this particular assignment, you draw it in the center. All right. So kind of like an egg, you know. Maybe eggs are usually like wider on one side and thinner on another side. But you know what, it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. But you want an oval. an oval shape. It's kind of like a circle, but like squished from the sides. That's the shape you want. Then you want to add some eyes. The eyes are like, again, we're going to be a very loose. This is not like, when you make a real face, that's how you start. But that's all we need for that. Now we have our shape. We're going to, okay, so we'll put a line in the middle. Just for symmetry. And then I'm going to get loose with the next part. The next part, I'm going to make some eyes. And your eyes may look different than mine. Right? I'm just making this up. Yours could be circular. Mine are kind of like a teardrop. And I don't know, I may change that up. And here's my nose. I'm just doing a triangle, like inverted triangle. Here's the nose right here. And then I'm going to do the lips. Let's see. Okay, here's my mask. All right, so I'm using this mask as an inspiration. You can't see the mask on, but here you go. I'm using this as an inspiration. The design of it, right? The design of it. Because I really love this, how the sun rays are coming out. So, all right. So now that I have this this face, I'm just gonna create this little rays, right, coming out. All right. And I'm using pencil because I may erase. I may erase. So for the rays, you want to start, again, do however you want them, but you want to start thick to thin. So they kind of look like they're going into space, right? And what you do is you want to fill the canvas with that. This part, I didn't leave myself a lot of room. So I'll make the face smaller. So the ray could extend a little bit more. All right, so as you probably notice, our classes are very free. A lot of freedom. All right, and that's the whole idea, right? Like, we don't want to be too caught up in like, oh, this is how it's got to be, you know. I mean, there's other great tutorials out there if you want to draw specific things, you know. But our goal here is to create something expressive. There may be assignments, like I did the landscape, those kind of like, we had an idea in mind, right? So I'm using that mask as a starting point, as an inspiration, right? So it's kind of like the sun, the face of the sun. You know, this sunbeam's coming out. And I'm getting pretty loose. The more I do this light beams, I'm getting more loosely. It's kind of looking like a flower, right? I'm just filling in the gaps now. Can you see that on there yet? Yeah. I have a feeling that pencil is hard to see on the image. You got to sharpen your pencil here and there. If you have like a knife, it's better. Just be careful. If you're a child, use a pencil sharpener. Right? If you're a child, you want to use the pencil sharpeners for safety. But if you're an adult, you can use the knife to give yourself more lead. And I'll talk about that in other videos. The reason for doing that is it helps a lot. So I'm just filling the gaps with smaller lines coming out of between the rays. And you can see this sort of like energy radiating out of this face. This face that's kind of like pretty chill. Kind of like you know. So pretty interesting, huh? So see how our other painting's doing. It's still drying. Okay. So so my face for this mask, I probably want to add a few more details, you know, maybe a line right here, maybe a line right here, just for design purposes. Maybe it's kind of like eyelids, right, that I'm thinking of. And then maybe the eyeball underneath. It feels like it's asleep, like it's in peace. If I add like a circle, then the eyes are kind of open. I don't know if you can you see that on there? So you can have your son with the eyes open. I'm gonna ask my daughter, which eyeball you like better, this one or that one? This one, the one that's open, right? The one that's closed, it looks like it's taking a nap. You know what I just thought about? You know that if you're from California or like you like rock music, like rock reggae music, there's the Sublime cover, right? And that's what makes me think of. I had no intentions of making it look like that. As you can see, here is my inspiration right here, right? We work from scratch. This is like cooking, you know? We start from the beginning. There's no, we don't even edit the videos, you know? Even the last one, that the camera was sideways, I left it on there, and I'm gonna leave it there. I just restarted to record again. I'm digging this this design, you know. But yours is personal to you, right? You can put a face there. You don't have to, like, you can add other, maybe a flower, right? Yours could be like flower, right? So like, right? Yours could be like a flower. So here's my design, and I'm just kind of making it up as I go. I'm just making things up. There you go. This wiggly line, I'm digging this. Wiggly line, maybe a little circle right here for the cheekbones. These are all shapes that are gonna have color, and hopefully that's like gonna stand out pretty cool, right? So what do you guys think? How's yours looking? We have people watching us. Elizabeth, saludos Elizabeth. Srimanti. Srimanti, we started our second painting. I'll make it at the start. Hopefully you made this one at the start, but like I said, the drawings, they stay on, or the videos. Here's another person, Elisa. Elisa said she missed the beginning. Well, you know, we're always like in progress, right? You can join us and watch along, and you know, and if you didn't, like, if you do it differently, like I said, that's okay. You can jump in and join us and just try to catch up. Like, it's nothing like difficult in a sense. Like, the hardest part is getting started, right? Because our biggest critic is, guess what? Or guess who that is? Ourselves. Our biggest critic is ourselves. We're always thinking, oh, I can't do that. Oh, I can't. But you know what? When we were a child, guess what? We could do anything, right? We played, and when we were a child, we played, and we imagined we were on the moon. We imagined we were, we were different characters, like our imagination, right? A child's imagination is very full of creativity, and we lose that as we as we live this journey in the universe. We lose that because we focus on the things that we have to survive, right? We have to work, we have to eat, and that stress builds up, and and we just kind of stay in that channel, you know, and this is to try to break from that, you know, try to break from that at least for a few hours, you know. How's that looking over there? Pretty good, huh? I mean, I don't mean that you know, like, I mean the idea, right? So yours is looking pretty good. That's what I mean, right? I'm just guiding you. There's a comment on there. I know it's like you need to add something when you're painting, right? Yeah, you know, like this painting's gonna take a life of its own, Raj. Like I just started with a concept, and I'm kind of adding. You know, I'm talking and drawing, like, you know, coloring, and I may add a line that wasn't part of the plan here. You know, and like this way is looking pretty cool. Like I don't know, like it just has this. You know, I'm not gonna say psychedelic thing to it, but you know, but I never done things like that. You know, but I can feel the energy right here, you know, like very like out of this world type of thing. I don't know, it's also an illustration. You can interpret whatever you want, you know, it's like your own. That's, you know, art, what is the saying? Art is in the eye of the beholder. It's very true, right? There's paintings out there that are not my favorites, and like they're really popular. And then some that are my favorites, like, are not that popular, you know. So that's, you know, art is, you know, there's a whole school about like what is art. You can, you know, you can study that, and it's like, and at the end of the day, it's like, you know, not everyone's gonna agree. So, you know, you make it your own, you know. I studied art, so I have a lot of like academic terms, of a lot of academic ideas in regards to the art. But at the end, I know that, you know, that it's a tool for my expression, you know. You know, I like the academic part because, you know, then I can teach it as well, you know. You know, so, but it's not like gonna be a definition, you know. At least in my own, you know, but it's your own interpretation, right? All right, the sun rays are kind of becoming like pointy at the end, and I kind of like that. And I'm using Sharpie, so like whatever mistake I make, it's gonna stay. Wow, it looks. Are you using a marker? Yes, I'm using a Sharpie for two things. One, you can see better on the video, but I started with pencil because pencil I can erase. And once I was like pretty much like sure of the design I wanted, then I went with the Sharpie. The Sharpie, I also use a Sharpie on our love painting because the colors, the Sharpie is gonna see through it when I use this light, you know, watered down paint. The Sharpie was easier to see. I can see some of the pencil markings that are still there, and they're kind of lost. They're kind of lost in with the paint. So the Sharpie is good for that. You know, and so here's our design. What do you guys think about, like, you know, how's your experience going so far? Are you the most challenging part is like overcoming your own barriers. Like you're probably thinking, oh man, I didn't do it. You know, what I learned, what I noticed that when people are doing art, you know, like a lot of times we want to do what the instructor or teacher is doing, and we want to be as precise as possible. But you know, and that's, and we're like too harsh on ourselves. So if you loosen up a little bit, it's gonna be fine. You know what? I don't know. I'm making things up as I go. So I'm adding this like dotted field of energy around, and I don't know. It just came to it just happened on its own. You know, like I didn't plan it. I'm gonna do another one. I don't want to do too many. The good thing is I'm going light. If I don't like it, I may just see. That's the thing. Now I'm kind of drawing with the Sharpie, but I'm really cautious because it's gonna be hard to cover. Just to get the feeling. Do you see the like? I'm gonna ask my daughter. She's the only other person here, so she's gonna tell me if like if she can see the radiating energy, like a field force. Like, do you see? You see the little dots or the little broken lines? You see them? Yeah. They're kind of subtle, but they can make you like it radiates out the same way that the shapes are radiating out, right? All right, folks, this is gonna be the fun part. This one is so this one, it's kind of like a sunlight kind of thing, right? Now on the drawing or on the Chromebook that I'm looking, I can see what I'm not doing right now. It's like if I was working by myself. I have a comment here. Is there any way you can paint over an easel so we can see better what you're doing? Not today, because this is my setup, but I will consider that recommendation. I'll try that. What I'm doing is just kind of flipping the thing back, so you can see it. Because to be honest, like I don't want you to do exactly what I'm doing. But if you want to do exactly what I'm doing, it's going to be tough because of the angle. But I'm kind of just guiding you. So this is very loosely, but I'll consider that. I'm going to play with the settings on the camera angle for next time. And that's a great suggestion. So I'll see how that works. So I'm not promising anything, but I'm gonna look into it. So I appreciate that, Elisa. But I'll keep flipping back and forth, and it's okay to look different. Like you don't have to have the circles here. It could be blank. The nose doesn't have to be this wide. It could be like smaller. The lips, you can actually add teeth on here, I use this one as an inspiration, but it's not like the same. If you notice, it's just like, an idea, right? Like an idea, right? An idea. So it's warm. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a rainbow on the. Okay, so I'm gonna start painting. I'm gonna paint the background, but I'm gonna do it dark. I'm gonna do it dark. Actually, Can you hand me the black paint? The big one. This one. Yeah, bring it over. Just be careful. So I'm gonna paint all the back black or the background, and that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do for now. Now remember, like we're probably not gonna finish the paintings today, but that's okay. We are usually the work. You're supposed to. This is like one session, but you're supposed to, continue working at home, like later today, tomorrow, whenever, But the idea is that we do the live feed once a week, and you continue working, And if you may want to do another painting, and another one, or just keep on reworking the same one, because everyone has a different pace of different speed of working, and that's kind of like what I encourage. Like, work at your own pace. You have 1 week to show us. You don't have to show us, but like to keep on working on it. While and I try to start at least a new project every week to keep the videos interesting. So right now I'm just gonna color like the space. I'm not gonna do what I did before. I'm just gonna do my best to. This is not like perfect, so as you can see, it's hard to follow this, you know, this wiggly lines perfectly, so I'm not gonna worry about it too much. I just wanted to get close as possible and then fill in the back. I'm using black. Normally I don't, but this time I am as a background, just to cover the background. The black it's kind of like the void, right? Black, you know, black is, this is gonna sound crazy, maybe you already know this, but black is all the colors together. So in this black, they're together, they're not being reflected. That's why it looks black, but all the colors are in there, so the sunlight's being trapped. The sunlight is colors. That's why you see rainbows in the sky, because sometimes the water breaks down the color, or the light beams, right? But black is like all the colors together, right? And white is also all the colors together, but they're reflected back. They're being reflected, so there's a difference. So the light is now bouncing off the black, whereas the light is bouncing off the white. That's gonna be interesting when we do I'm gonna do like what do we call that? Still lifes, but not, you know, maybe in the future weeks, depending on how long this situation lasts, where we can't have people in the gallery. But if I do get to that point, I just want to mention, and this is going to be true of, like, this is true no matter what, that the black absorbs the light and that the white reflects the light. Like physically, that's what's happening, right? So the colors, the way that you see the color that you see is because that particular surface, or those matter particles, are reflecting only a specific spectrum of light. And that's why we see like a blue or a red, because that particular particles of matter are reflecting those specific spectrums of light. All right. So that's why, so right now this is just like, you know, just some elaborate task, just to fill in the background, right? So it's gonna take a little while. Be patient. The more patient you are, the better your work comes out. Like, unless your idea is to show that fast expressionist, you know, like paint all over the place, you know, there's great paintings like that. Are you guys familiar with the Jackson Pollock paintings? This guy, if there's a movie about him, actually, it's really great. I mean, if you're into the arts, right? So this guy was a painter, American painter, and Jackson Pollock was initially having trouble with, I guess, finding or selling his work, you know, which is really common with a lot of artists, you know. So then now, you know, I say to myself, we like I like to tell the artists to, you know, like, paint because of the passion, you know. And if you're painting in hopes of, like, you know, being financially as your main goal, then, you know, it's a tough road, but that will come eventually, you know, like any other thing. But this is passion of love, per se. Anyway, so Jackson Pollock was kind of tired of painting and not getting recognized or successful, you know. So he went to a ranch, or like the country, his family's ranch, or out, you know, in the country. And he went into this giant barn, and he got this giant rolls of canvases. The canvases rolls were so big, he would lay them on the floor. And before that, he would paint still lifes, like realistic things, you know, like try to paint like images that look real. All right, and he would paint that. And when he went to the barn, he was like, he had enough of not getting the recognition or or the success. So he just started throwing paint. Painting is very relaxing to me. That's right, Elisa. That's why we do this, right? We need relaxation time, right? Like in a different way, this is relaxing, right? Because what's happening. And anyways, now, so Jackson Pollock was a he bought giant pieces, like a roll of canvas, and he laid it down inside of a barn. I mean, they were so big you couldn't put them in your inside of your house, right? The rolls, he just kind of like put this canvas, rolled it on the floor, and started painting on there. And he didn't have I'm guessing he didn't have a plan. I mean, if he had a plan, like, I guess the plan was to get loose and get wild kind of thing, and he started throwing. What's up, Richard? Richard is another member here at CALB. Is a local celebrity. Richard Shumitsu watching us. Shout out to Richard. Richard's a great man. He's always supporting people, and he doesn't like any recognition, but we give him recognition because he deserves it. So Jackson Pollock was, he was tired of like not getting the recognition. So he started to, like, he grabbed like buckets of paint, and then he would get, like, instead of brushes like I have here, he would get like branches from the trees from the barn and dip them in the paint buckets and start throwing it on the canvas all over the place, and the paint would naturally drip and splash, and sometimes he'll like stamp his handprints on it. And he did this series of paintings. They were so large, like he called them murals, mural number 1, and like, those were the titles. You can see them, and right now they're probably one of the most expensive paintings in existence today. Obviously, the artist has passed away many years ago, so that's the story of the artist. One becomes famous after no longer being around. So Jackson Pollock's paintings became super popular, and I think the last time I checked, like, one of his paintings that was called Mural Number 1, I think, or I don't know but it was called Mural. One of his paintings that were called Mural sold for almost like $200 million, like 170 or 80 or 50, $100 million, right? And you look at them and you're like, wow, it looks like somebody had fun splashing paint, and somebody, like, one of the critics called them, I think, the drip paintings. But this critic, I forgot the name of the critic, but the critic was like, a champion of him, like he was like, man, this is the greatest thing to happen to American art. And he would write this great, lengthy essays about it, and with, and it helped, it helped because, other people started to look at that like, yeah, that's true. So he had, like, I like to think about it like he had a promoter, so that helped. Speaking of that, like, I normally don't paint live on video like this, or teach on video. I'm either like teaching in person or curating art shows for the gallery here and other venues. It's mainly what I've been doing lately, but first of all, I'm an artist, I'm an art curator. That kind of became something that became like unplanned, but I became like really excited about that and had a lot of success with that, creating art shows, Long Beach, Los Angeles, Northern California, different places, exhibited in various places like Mexico. I collaborated with Public Arts. Shout out to Afito Idea, Design Collective. That haven't worked with them lately, but we started together in this journey, and they've done amazing works. They kept me as part of their collective. I did a few drawings for murals they hooked me up with. One of them in Denver, Colorado. I have a really great design. Maybe one day I'll show you. I really like it, and that became public art. Anyway, so how's that going over there? Richard, Elisa, Elizabeth, everyone out there watching us. So this is just basically coloring in the background, you know. And it doesn't have to be too perfect. Like there's white spots that are bothering me right now, but you know what? I can fill those out later, you know, like fill those in later. Right now I'm gonna do that. Actually, I'm gonna stretch the paint lines all the way to the face. I'm gonna do that right now. I'm gonna ask my daughter, what do you think about this process? Cool? She's just shaking her head, you know. Those of you that are interested in the music class, it's tomorrow, 10 a.m. The link is on the events. It's it's like a video conference for the first 2 hours, 10 to 12. After that, we go live, we do a guided lesson. But the main teacher, he wants to do it like that, and we're gonna honor that. He's a volunteer, Richard Bemis, shout out to Richard Bemis. So you go on the link, 10 a.m., you talk to him. He's like, you know, that's his style. He wants to see you, and he wants to make sure you're doing the right thing in regards to the music theory, the first 2 hours. A little bit of music practice there, but mostly music theory. But no, after we're done with that, we're gonna do a guided practice here if you'd like to join us. We have a whole lesson. I don't know if you can see it back there. Can you zoom out? Can you zoom out? Just zoom to my face. Actually, just show my face regular. Okay, good. So I'm gonna point. Can you see that poster back there? You don't need to move the camera there, but can you see that poster, the white one? So that's a guitar chord progression chart that we're gonna do tomorrow. That's gonna be here live. That one's gonna be like at noon or as soon as our professor's done with this conference class. So we're gonna do a guided practice for those of you that are into guitars, you know. Anyways, just wanted to throw that out there while I'm coloring in. Or can you go back to the painting, Mija? Thank you. All right, so I like this, you know. It's different than what I imagined, but I like it. I didn't intend on putting black all over the place, as you know, as the background, but I wanted to have like a void feeling, you know, and then color emanating from it. So we're gonna let that dry off, and let's see how our acrylic paint is doing. Oh, okay. Some of this is pretty dry. Some of it is still needs a little bit of. Okay, I think yeah, it is a little more drying, but let me show you that. You can see that it's. You can see now the wet onto wet effect is there. That's not what I wanted, but I am gonna leave it. And I can fix that or play with that. But that's why we needed to make it dry. If we had started coloring, you would have that effect all over the place. And you have this bleed of like color everywhere as opposed to like coloring in the lines. All right, so I think we're approaching our 6 p.m. time, and we're gonna just show you our progress here. I'm gonna flip but was it Lisa that gave me the suggestion? I'm gonna consider that, Lisa. I'm gonna play with the easel and see how that works. We do 2 hours, so this setup is really comfortable for me. But I'll consider the other setup, you know, and see how that goes. Can you move this paint out of the way, please? Have my daughter here as my assistant. So this is what we did today. So your homework is to try, can you see all of that? Yeah? Okay. So your homework is to try to finish as much as possible, you know, as you can. All right. This is a nice class. Thank you, Elisa. Thank you for your comments. So I'm going to cut off that transmission in a few. I just want to say thank you for everyone watching us. The video stays on. So if you missed the beginning, once we're done, the video will replay. There's two videos. One of them is the camera's backwards or sideways. But I left it on there just because I thanked some folks and I wanted to leave it on there. But I started another video. So you'll see this video. Anyway, so I feel like I'm talking too much. Like, I don't want this to end. I'm going to probably keep painting. But this is 2 hours, and we do 2 hours every day. If you want to donate, there's a link to my Venmo there. You don't have to, but I appreciate it if you do, you know, and if you want to donate paint or materials, you can send us a message. We'll probably arrange for after when people are safe to go out, but stay safe, you know, stay safe and keep working, focus on the art, focus on the positive things. You see my word over here says love and sunlight. We need sunlight, and we miss the sunlight, right? So hopefully we'll be able to enjoy the sunlight in the upcoming summer and share the love, and keep on making art. Thank you to my daughter here for working the camera with me. Thank you to the people at Cultural Alliance of Long Beach, the owner of the building, Mike Wiley. Thank you for his continuous support to the Cultural Alliance of Long Beach. Thank you to Keith Lely for programming, being program director for our art and music classes. Thank you, Victor Ladd, our treasurer. Thank you to Victor Ladd for keeping the paperwork and the you know, our status in good order. Thank you to Richard Shumitsu, who's also on our board, for our continued support. Richard Bemis, our music teacher. And over the time, we had a lot of folks that volunteered. Oh, I could sit here and name everybody, but there's a lot of people who were here from the beginning, a lot of people who joined afterwards. Cultural Alliance, we're a nonprofit. If you want to become a member, once all this is over, you can come pick up an application, have an art exhibition here, teach a class, things like that. Anyways, I'm just so grateful to be part of this community, community of art here in Long Beach, California. But we are from Long Beach, California, broadcasting live to the world, to the universe. We love you. Stay safe. And I'm going to cut off the transmission. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Look forward to the next class. Stay safe.